All right, so today we are going to work the temple area, kind of the outskirts of the crow's feet. And so we're going to work kind of the superficial and then inside that eye area, kind of coming up, and then we're going to work above. So let's just start. I'm just going to press the paddle right into that dense area. And I don't know if you guys have been working this, but I really notice a huge change in this area if it's done consistently. And this can be done if you're on a road trip, if you're just sitting in the car. Sometimes I'll just, even if I'm driving, I just hold that paddle right there and I'll just balance my elbow on that window. But we get in these habitual kind of holding patterns, even with our thoughts. Everything is correlated and it's kind of in a rut like erosion. So how we hold our eyes, how we think about things, and what muscles we engage. So if we can just kind of go in and disrupt that and then kind of engage, just kind of do everything with that. And so I've gotten in the habit of really just kind of closing my eyes and looking up and seeing if there's any associated tension pattern with the temple area. And if you're like me, you can feel just a tension above that eye. And that starts to create all of those just holding patterns of tightness that begin to stop the blood flow, the microcirculation, just the feeding of everything. So let's just go ahead while we're holding the paddle in the temple, look towards the paddle and just kind of hold. Your eyes can be open or they can be closed, wherever you feel the most stretch in this area. We're just going to be holding, looking at that paddle in that space. And then when you're ready, let's look towards your nose. So now it's like that eye muscle is stretching the opposite direction. And while you're holding there, I want you just to slightly turn that paddle clockwise in the same space. And now pressing into that paddle, I want you to slightly turn your head towards the right shoulder. Just sharing that a little bit more, looking with the eyes. And it's amazing the kind of how everything is associated with one another. Now looking up at the right hand corner. And I want you to twist that paddle a tiny bit more. Now, as you're pressing into that temple area, I want you to bring that chin lower down towards your chest, stretching in that same area. You may want to take another hand to balance out that paddle because we're really starting to move the scalp more on that temple. And I want you to look down towards your chin. You may almost kind of Shake your head into that space, creating more space, opening up this whole area in the scalp. Tension just loves to kind of hide and reside here. So even now, we've been on here almost about a minute and a half. You may feel a little bit different of a feeling just in this same area. You may start to feel something, whereas before it was hard, but now it's starting to soften. And in the same area, we have a suture. And this gets so tight. You may start to get a slight headache. And we're just kind of staying in this space. And now pressing into that paddle, we're just going to shear a little bit more, looking more towards the right, shearing that tissue back. And play with that paddle. Maybe twist it, lift it up. How does that feel? Where is that going for you? And follow that tension, that thread of tension that you feel. Taking deep breaths in. You can sometimes you'll start noticing people and how dense that temple area gets, and it almost can bulge out. All of that is collected fascia. It's not their scalp, it's not their bone structure. It's the density that's collected there and stored. Now just looking all the way to the nose, stretching as far as you can, pressing deep into that scalp. Take 3 more deep breaths. Your final deep breath. I don't want you to release the pressure. I just want you to migrate slightly over towards the ear, pressing in that location. You're not on the earlobe, you're just kind of right in that area above the ear where there's a ridge. Can be sort of twisting that paddle into that area. Nice deep breaths. This is great for that asymmetry we have. It's great for headaches. If you wear glasses, a lot of time this area builds up in here. And while we're pressing right in that space over the ear, I want you to lower your head down, creating more of a stretch as though you were just lifting the top of the scalp, trying to pry it off. Relax your shoulders if you can. Breathing deep into those spaces. And now instead of engaging the eyeball, I just want you to relax the eyes, the muscles behind the eyes. About another minute and a half in this area. Deep breath in and exhale. And take 3 more deep breaths. Exhaling it all out. Final breath in and relax. So now I want you to take the paddle. We're just going to go right on that outskirt of that corner. So I'm using this area. I'm really going in. I'm just going to, again, rely just on that pressure. And at first, it might not feel like anything. But I know for me, I have like a lot of dynamic lines in here just from permanent squints. So what we're trying to do is we're just going to start hydrating this area. And it takes time. It's no different than if these spaces were eroded, and just kind of collapsed. And again, if you look up the Langard lines or the natural layer collagen, you can see that there are grooves in here. And so that skin thins and it falls in. So, it's not like a guarantee you're not going to have crow's feet if the fat has migrated. But by working in this temple area and going in here, we might be able to kind of fill out some of that tissue over time. It's just shifts in tissue and tension create the lines. So we just kind of go into this space. And just kind of find your own pattern. Sometimes I think of it like a snake. I'm just kind of twisting as though it's a snake's kind of moving through areas. You may find some spaces of tension. You may have to continue looking. But we kind of loosened up in that temple area. We're able to kind of breathe into the space, this bony structure of the skull and the eye socket, where all that fascia loves to grip and dehydrate, kind of creating the cavity in the temple area and then bulging in others. Search in this space and find that one area you haven't been to yet. As you shift and kind of shear. It is never ending, but it is ever changing. Every time you do this or you spend the time, it could be oh so subtle, but one day you see change. And it's not like a hypothesis or a hopeful wish. The pressure creates change. And at first, it may not be what you think you want to see, but if you just kind of flow with it and not have expectation, ultimately the face ends up looking softer, more responsive. So I'm just kind of going out from that crow's area. I'm going to kind of go now to the mediate temple, just right in that socket. Before I was more in the scalp. Now I'm just directly in that little temple area, moving up around that upper eyebrow. If you want a more of a space to work, you can lay the paddle flat and roll into that area because we are going to roll more forward. You want to place your hand more kind of down onto that paddle. We're just working this whole space. We're not lifting up a lot because we're really shearing that tissue, kind of retraining where it is. And we do this through the shearing and kind of the repatterning of the movement. You can't always do this with your clients because it would take too long, but just in a segment to teach your client to do. And a lot of them will want to know if they have Botox, if they can do this with Botox. And after 2 weeks, yes, they can. It's just there's always the chance, like I said, well, it's not written in a study. There's always a chance that we help metabolize the toxin. So you may have found like a little area of excruciating pain. And while you're in it, try to relax your shoulders. Try to breathe. Find humor in it. Humor in this tension that until it's aggravated, we don't even notice because we've learned to carry it so long. I can feel it all the way in the back of my occipital, the tension back there. So, the brow is just weaving its way through the skull back there to hold up. We can think about that bank teller with the heavy, heavy brow. And if they aren't aware of fascia, they just think that that's just the formation. Maybe their parents had it. We have those kind of habitual imitation type postures and stances that we inherit just through observation. I'm going to hold this area a little bit more. Then we're going to work with our fingers inside that eye socket. All right, when you're ready, total difference in the eye. We're going to come in and we're going to just put our index finger right into that center. And for me, I can literally feel like a little bead. It's not a bead, but it's just a little bump. And I'm just going to kind of hold right into this space. And sometimes you might want to try to slightly massage that area. And I'm actually just kind of pulling out almost like that bone, pressing that deep into that area. Relax your eye muscle, relax the tension in that space. Using the dense pad of the finger, just bringing new information. And as you press in there, you may feel up above the finger or below the finger some more tension. And so kind of follow where that is for you. Let's go ahead and just press into that space. Starting to soften all the lines that are created from this location. And again, I'm not really exercising the eye at this point. I'm really working on relaxing those muscles, relaxing the tension in the eye. Looking online, scrolling on Instagram, those muscles get so overworked that we forget how to just relax those muscles. And as your finger goes deeper and you feel different spaces in that eye socket, relax that eye and let that pressure melt all those adhesions around the orbital rim of the eye socket. And take 3 more nice deep breaths in this space. And as you feed that area with oxygen, remind your body it's okay to let go. And when you're done, slowly remove that eye and come out. Just feel the difference in the jaw and even in this cheek area, how that feels. Now we're going to go over to the other side. So personally, what I noticed was about October, I was in Canada and Deanna took a picture and there was so much tension around my eyes that I was actually almost shocked because I thought at that point I had done a lot of work and that, it theoretically should be better than the picture showed. But I had also said, literally, probably an hour and a half before she took that picture, how I felt like my eyes were getting smaller. And I'm like, I can't figure it out. My eyes are literally getting smaller because I would look at my daughter and I'm like, I feel like I just need to have a doctor cut and like open my eye again. Like, what is going on? But what it was all of this tissue had gone in and it was literally was making my eyes smaller. And doing this is uncomfortable, but to me, it's fascinating because it's like, oh my gosh, like I do feel, that I can get some of this. It's not going to remove the wrinkles, but I don't think it's the wrinkles, it's the tension that makes us look tired. It's not so much, yeah, there's wrinkles and that's just going to happen. And it's going to happen, for all of us differently, given our tissue, our heritage, our skin color, but it can also settle and look less harsh. And I think that's what this really does, is this resets the patterning of that aging process. And, you can kind of decide from there what you want to do. You know, I don't think that as practitioners, we can say to our clients, you don't need a facelift or you don't want a facelift. But what I am seeing now more and more with doctors is they are buying into the year prep plan. Like, if you're going to do this, then then give yourself a year to have a plan. And this is another great way to promote this facial because I think that you can also cut a lot of clients out if you start saying, you don't have to do this or don't do this, don't don't get your eyes done. But instead, like, okay, you want to get your eyes done, let's prep for that. And let me tell you why. And you'll get the best results because we're restoring circulation, we're restoring tissue hydration, we're restoring youth in this area. And the healing process will be far more efficient than if the tissue strangled and not receiving blood flow. I've also noticed this whole area didn't have hair growth, and now it does. So, and this whole area right here has come back. So by doing my eyebrows are thicker. They're darker too, which is kind of odd, but um it does restore youthful function. So just kind of going into this space, kind of right in that bulk temple. I'm not quite over the ear. I'm just kind of going where I really feel it in this area. And that's all I want you to do. There might be any different ways that you want to hold this paddle. You could even try the smaller end. I'm not because I started with the bigger and I just like to do the same thing on each side. But I'm really kind of focusing in this area here. And then as we go down, I'm going to go more into that area and this spot. There's a Dr. Cow, Kaow. He's in the Palisades and I don't know, I probably now followed him like 10 years. I had to finally stop following him because it just gets so obsessive. But he does a full facelift in the scalp. And that's why I think we need to really focus a lot of our work in the scalp because I think the scalp holds a lot of our facial patterning that we don't quite understand at this time. But if you can get your clients or you can start working on the scalp area, you may notice a residual release in the face and the movement of the face. And as you do this, you might now just start to, for me, sometimes it's so hard, I don't feel anything. And then all of a sudden it starts to release. Those pressure fibers start to soften, and then I start to feel the change in the tissue underneath. Now I'm just going to kind of lower my chin down, but I'm keeping the paddle still in that same spot. So I'm moving my head, but maintaining a single point of pressure. And this is starting to loosen the spaces. And let's go ahead and take the eyeballs and look towards the nose. And as we just maintain that pressure, the longer you start to feel different sensations. While we're pressing into that temple, I want you to look towards your left shoulder. Inhaling and exhaling. Take your eyeballs and look towards the paddle all the way to the right. Pressing into that paddle. Now bringing the chin towards the chest and going down. I want you to kind of twist that paddle, pulling the paddle towards the ear now, shearing away. Now I'm kind of more towards my ear. If you want to move your paddle to the side, you can do that. Whatever feels best for you on that side. Pressing deep, I'm kind of moving my scalp forward and back, trying to open up the space. Getting all those adhesions around that suture and the temporalis area. And just relax the eyes. Relax the shoulders. And 3 deep breaths in. Exhaling all of that tension. And ready? Let's go ahead. And we're going to place the block right on the side of the eye, kind of right in there. And just kind of press into the space. And you may want to lengthen it, but I'm just going to start with this. And then as I move to the top of the eye, I'll shift over. So we just really focus on decompressing this area. Microcurrent is so much more effective because we've created hydration of the cell. So the cell just knows how it operates more. And if the cell has been confined or dehydrated or with lack of oxygen or nutrients, the microcurrent goes in and forces. We talk about action potential in the muscle, but there's an action potential, which again is kind of like an electrical charge of the location. So in this case, it's electrical charge of the cell, which forces a calcium and a sodium potassium exchange. And this is kind of like the electrical system of that cell to function and to heal and to recalibrate. So we go in and we charge those cells for better responses. But we're also creating our own internal hydration of that tissue. As I'm starting to press down a little bit more. It's funny how, like, now I start to feel it. And I'm just relaxing the eyeball, kind of going in now that I feel like my tissue has finally released some. I'm kind of going in deeper, feeling that. This is totally irrelevant, but driving to Utah is about a 5 hour drive. And so you can only talk so much. So then we put on Dateline, like these murder mysteries. And I got to tell you, if you wanted to do a lot of fascia release, you should just put on a Dateline. Some of the craziest stuff happens. Like this one lady we're listening to, I didn't even finish it. I tried to find it if I could watch it on TV because by this point I had to know what this woman looked like. She must have been a beauty because she went through men and then when she got tired of them, she killed them. Just killed them. And it took the police like, I don't know, 10 years to figure it out. She just kept collecting on the life insurance policies. Anyway, she was convinced she was going to be one of the 144,000 after the revelation that would live and that she I don't know, she was crazy, and her husband tried to turn her into the police like she was crazy, and that she could just like charm her way out. She got caught finally. I don't know if she's up for parole yet. But that, if you wanted to do a lot of fascia release, you could just be listening to that. You would totally forget about your pain because you would be just mesmerized by other people's craziness. Now we're going to come up and we're going to go right on that eyebrow, right in that space, and then we'll work the inner. This always gets me. I just think, oh my gosh. Just right along that bone. Just relaxing, really trying to relax that eye. You may start to notice different sensations. I'm starting just kind of going along that fatty pad of that upper eyebrow, kind of shifting and shearing, weaving. There's no right or wrong. This is your discovery process and your holding pattern. I can give you tips and guidelines, but it's really what works for you. Where you feel it, the discovery of your own kind of holding. And when you're done, if you have a block, you could go lay down and just work on that occipital. You could also do this while laying on a larger block. I don't know if you get the same amount of pressure like I do when I'm on the desk. And when you're ready, I'm going to go ahead and release. And we're going to go into that inner eye, kind of going in. You have to really relax the eye, kind of going in and feel around. It's crazy. That's already been 45 minutes. Your fingers in there, relaxing the eye. Relaxing that muscle. The more you relax, the more your fingertip can feel. Just clearing out all the cobwebs. Gets in there, crowding the space. Taking some nice deep breaths, bringing some oxygen. Sometimes what feels like a bone is actually just density. And take about 3 more deep breaths. Searching a little bit more. Is there another area? And when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and get ready for microcurrent. I like to always kind of follow it out. And whew, that feels good. So get our face ready to receive now. Um, I'm going to do it on program 2, a little bit deeper, but not real strong. Uh, oh, yeah, that felt good. How do you feel, Rihanna? Rihanna?
That was good.
Yeah.
I like the pain in the pain there.
Just crazy to me. It doesn't seem to get, it does, but it doesn't. It's just always a little bit different. But I can feel it. It's kind of going all over right now. We tell you what, even on 30, it's stronger. Tend to forget that it's a lifetime. And then especially if, I mean, I think I was 28 when Botox came out. So this was even in the 80s. No. it was like 95. Botox might have come out. I didn't do it back then because I didn't need it. And they didn't really prescribe it. Not prescribe it, but doctors didn't talk about it. But then I had years of being pregnant with kids and didn't do it. But these younger girls, it's how they manage aging. So, you know, it's a great way to at least feed the tissue that's starving a lot earlier if it's being frozen. So I'm just kind of going over, almost just kind of waking up the tissue right now. Mm. And when you're ready, let's just go ahead and start down at the neck. Just gonna hold. Mm. And I would say I've got a pressure. I used to name the pressures like super light, a 1, a 2, kind of like you're feeling it, a 3, it's kind of in there, it's kind of moving, like I'm literally moving. And I would say I'm at like a pressure of a 3. So I'm really kind of moving that muscle with the probe. Now I'm going to come up right to this neck area and just kind of hold in that lymph area. And pushing it out. Just kind of holding. Bring it all the way out. We were driving yesterday and I really just worked the chin a long time. That's another area that just quietly holds so much tension. Affects the lower lip, how the jaw sits, lower part of the face. So I think jaw implants are so popular because their muscles are so tight. And again, I'm using about a 3. I'm just kind of dragging this all the way out. And then I'm going to drag it down. And let's just go sideways. Gonna go in this lip area. I like the current on my lower lip or my upper. Just kind of feeling it. Do that again. Up towards the side. I'm just going to angle it. I don't have the two top ones. I'm really only working on kind of using the bottom parts of the probe. And I'm going to take it out, kind of following that cheekbone up into that temple area we worked. Into the center. And moving it out all the way to that temple area. And again to the center. Just moving really slow. Up to that temple. Now, I want you to press in that temple area, hold your hands down, and just let that probe, just like if we were working the block, let those probes just kind of go right into that area. Now I'm going to put a little bit of spray real quick. I'm going to do the eye area. So however it works best on your eyes, I'm going to just kind of put it over like this. But we're just going to hold right in this area, all in this little brow orbicularis oculi, kind of just finding your space in there. All that area that we release, let that current kind of saturate in there and coordinate your breath. Inhaling a nice inhale and exhale. And we're just going to take 5 deep breaths in. Two more nice deep breaths, bringing oxygen to this area. And exhale. And just kind of slide out towards the temple. There you go, perfect. Kind of holding in this area. Get out further to the side. Now let's turn the probe to the side and just use those four right in this space. Just feeding all its tissue. And while you're holding here, now I want you to move your eyeballs in a circle. As crazy as it sounds, while you're moving the eyeballs, I want you to think about relaxing those muscles, even though you're moving in them and engaging them. Just relax them. And almost if you could just like let the muscle and the eyeball go limp. Feel the response of the surrounding muscles when you take the intensity away. You can feel the whole of the iris oculi just start to relax. Slowly coming up on the two pointed, you're just going to drag all the way out to the corner of the eye, kind of lifting now the corner of the eye and the arch of the eyebrow. Now we're going to go to each corner, lifting the whole brow up. And relax the temple muscle, relax the eyes. Just release all the compensatory muscles. Now we're going to switch and we're just going to put the whole probe on the forehead, leaning down on that forehead. And then move the probe further into the scalp, right at the crown. the hairline. Something different we haven't done, and I don't do it like a ton, but every now and then I really do like to do it. Put on a little bit more gel, and you're going to turn up program two higher to where you can tolerate it. But we're going to go down, we're going to kind of work the muscle only really to pump lymph. So we're using it kind of as a trick to clear the area. Um, so Seth, and we're just going to go over that mid face. So you might go up to 50. But you really want to feel it. It still shouldn't twitch because I don't think that unless you're over one of the nerves, let's just get some of that blood flow through. Sometimes we just need to get that muscle moving a little bit just to clear out. You're not going to ruin the ATP or your skin. We're just kind of waking up even deeper in those areas. And it just gets more of the tissue awake, but also the toxins out. We're up as high as feels oddly good. And down to that jawline, down to that neck, and anywhere you feel like you just want to go. Just feeling that current move through the body, the skin. Bring out. And so I just like to hold it in this area. It's kind of a central lymph space. think one day, maybe next time, we'll start with this first because it's always interesting doing a little microcurrent first and then doing fast release and then doing microcurrent again. You'll notice a whole different sensation if you do microcurrent first. It's like it warms up the tissue for even a deeper impact. So next on Thursday, we'll do that. And we will do Thursday, 9 a.m. again. Just feel the current. All right, you ready? We are done, and I will see you Thursday.